Hey guys, Mr. Middleton here. Today we're looking at factoring when a equals 1 notes. At the end of this video, you should be able to factor a trinomial into two binomials. Okay, the general form of a quadratic, remember a quadratic is a polynomial with the highest exponent 2, is ax squared plus bx plus c. A, b, and c are numbers or coefficients. So recall from the last couple of lessons, we can multiply x plus 4 times x plus 3. Show all your work. Hey, you can FOIL, you can do the box method. We FOIL, we have x squared, 3x, 4x, 12. Okay, combining our like terms, we get x squared plus 7x plus 12. Notice our resulting polynomial is in general form. Our a value would be 1. Our b value would be 7. Our c value is 12, right? Because if we have ax squared plus bx plus c, you see where those values come in, okay? B and C easy to see. A, remember, it's the, if we don't have a number in front of a variable, then it is 1. Okay, how do we get the middle term? Remember, we multiplied the outer term and the inner terms of each binomial, and then added these together. Okay, how do we get the last term? We multiplied the last term of each binomial. Okay, this is going to be important as we look at factoring today. So let's try another multiplication problem and then we'll work with it. Okay, so we have x times x, x squared, x times 2, 2x, negative 5 times x, negative 5x, negative 5 times 2, negative 10. Combining my like terms, I get x squared minus 3x minus 10. Notice these things below, they are very closely tied to what we are learning today. What are the last terms of each binomial? In this case, the last terms are negative 5 and 2. What are the sum of these terms? When we add these two together, we get negative 3. Where do we see that? It's our b value. It's our middle term. Okay, what is the product of these terms? Negative 5 times 2 is negative 10. Where do we see that? That's our last term. It's our c value. See that there? Okay, does this always work? Let's see. If we kind of do this again, x squared, what's the sum of negative 1 and negative 8? Negative 9. What's the product of negative 1 and 8? Positive 8. Let's see if that's what we get when we multiply it. So we got x minus 1, x minus 8, and so we get x squared minus 1x minus 8x plus 8. Put these together, negative 9x. Yeah, it works. All right, so we are now going to be doing what we did in the last couple lessons in reverse. Okay, and this is called factoring. Factor x squared plus 7x plus 12. We want to find the two binomials that when we multiply them together, they give me the trinomial above. Okay, the first terms of the binomial must be x and x, since that's the only combination that multiplies to give you x squared. Okay, this is only true when a equals 1. Okay, and that's why this lesson I'm teaching you specifically how to factor when a equals 1. Now we just need to find the last terms of each binomial. To do this, we want to find two numbers that multiply to 12 and at the same time add to 7. Okay, might be asking, well, why that? Remember, we just looked at that in the last couple problems. Since the last term is 12, that comes from the product of the last two terms. we are looking for the two numbers that multiply to 12. Since the middle term is 7x, comes from the sum of the outer terms and the inner terms of the two binomials, we are looking for two numbers that add to 7. Okay, what are those two numbers? Here's a way that I like to organize myself for that. I make an X. Okay, and just to keep my numbers right, I have 12 because that's the number I'm multiplying to. 7 is the number I'm adding to. Okay, and I just like to keep those numbers in front of me. Okay, and so write a little hint to myself because my X I need to set up so it's A times C here, and so that it's B here. Okay, notice in this all today, A is 1. Okay, so I'm looking for two numbers that multiply to give me 12, add to give me 7. Those two numbers, 3 and 4. 3 times 4 is 12. 3 plus 4 is 7. Okay, and a quick clue, always think about what multiplies to the number first because there are less combinations than what adds to a number. Okay, so we're there. It says write these with the first terms as their product of the binomials. So we have x plus 3, right, because we know it's going to be x times x, and x plus 4. This is x squared plus 7x plus 12 factored. Here's a common problem. What if you can't find these two numbers or factors? Then I would suggest that you write these out. For instance, this problem, we have x squared minus 10x minus 24. Here it says, find two numbers that multiply to negative 24 and add to negative 10. So a problem like this. You might be like, okay, I don't know how this goes. So I organize myself. I know I want two numbers that multiply to give me negative 24 and add to give me negative 10. Okay, as you're thinking about those numbers, I would just make a T-chart. Again, in your T-chart, you're focused on two numbers that multiply to give you negative 24. Okay, when you're stuck, always start with 1. Okay, 1 and 24, 2 and 12, 3 and 8, 4 and 6. And I shouldn't go back and have to repeat myself because once I start doing 6 on the other side, then I know that I'm repeating myself. Okay, so it needs to be negative 24. And so I'm looking for negative 24 and has to add to give me negative 10. Okay, because I know it needs to add to give me a negative number, I know the bigger number should be negative. Okay, so notice I thought first just 24, and then I thought, how can I get it to add to give me negative 10? So the bigger number has to be negative. So as I look through all of my options, the only one that works out is 2 and negative 12. And so these will be my factors. Okay. If you're stuck, that's a strategy that you can use so that you can actually go through and solve these. All right, let's try that. It says factor each of these trinomials into the product of two binomials. Okay, so we can kind of set up and say, okay, this has to be x and x. Okay, and now we make our my x. So, okay, I need two numbers that multiply to give me 15 and add to give me 8. Okay, those two numbers, 5 times 3 multiplies to give me 15 and adds to give me 8. Good, plus 5 plus 3. Here, second one, I need two numbers that add to give me 4 and multiply to give me negative 21. Okay, so negative 21, that means I have to multiply a positive and a negative. Okay, and it's adding to give me a positive number, so I know my bigger number should be positive. I think it's 7 and negative 3. 7 times negative 3, negative 21, 7 minus 3, 4. All right, great. X plus 7, x minus 3. Let me do a different color feel like I'm running on top of myself. Here we go. Two numbers that multiply to give me negative 24 and add to give me negative 5. Okay, I just made a list of negative 24s. So bigger number has to be negative because it adds to give me a negative. And so I see that as negative 8 and 3. Negative 8 plus 3, negative 5. Negative 8 times 3, negative 24. X minus 8, x plus 3. All right, over here, looking for two numbers that multiply to give me 16 and at the same time add to give me negative 10. So here, it multiplies to give me a positive number and adds to give me a negative number. If it multiplies to give me a positive number, my signs have to be the same. Okay, and it multiplies or adds to give me a negative number, that means they're both negative. Okay, so I'm thinking what multiplies to give me 16, that's negative 2 and negative 8. So I have x minus 8, x minus 2. Okay. Two numbers that multiply to give me 9 and add to give me 10. Okay, so as I think about, okay, what multiplies to give me 9 and adds to give me 10? A lot of people get stuck on this problem. So as I go through, I'm like, okay, 1 and 9, 3 and 3. Oh, 1 and 9. Why do I have to even do 3 and 3? 1 times 9 is 9. 1 plus 9 is 10. X plus 9, x plus 1. All right, and finally we got here, I need two numbers that multiply to give me negative 6 and at the same time add to give me, you might see that, wait, there's no number here. Remember, it's 1, negative 1. So what two numbers multiply to give me negative 6 and add to give me negative 1? Adds to give me a negative, so I know my bigger number needs to be negative. Negative 3, 2. Okay, and so our factor x minus 3, x plus 2. Okay, so that is factoring when a is 1. I'll see you.